All right, everybody. Welcome to the NorCal Sports Network. As we got Ned Colletti joining us this afternoon, talking a little baseball as the Giants and A's are still going. Bottom of the seventh. Oakland has taken a 7-6 lead. Game got started late. Looked like started about a half hour late. Not sure what was going on there at the Coliseum, but they had something pregame going on. So
yeah, they said it was a ceremony.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a commitment here. We got Ned for just over an hour, so we didn't want to delay it and wait till the game was over. So we're going now, and we'll update you as the game goes along if anything happens. But right now, they're just getting ready to start the bottom of the seventh. Again, the A's lead the Giants 7-6, and kind of a not too well of a played ball game on both parts today. Looks like a couple of errors so far, contributing to runs on both sides, unearned runs. Brandon Crawford, easy throw to first base, threw it in the dirt, and looks like he just kind of got a little lazy on it and just tried to lob it over instead of throw his normal strike, and didn't get it there in the dirt, and it opened the inning up, and A's scored 3 in the 6th to take the lead. So, well, welcome, Ned.
Hey, good to be with you guys.
Yeah. How was your trip did you go to Europe?
It was great. Yeah, I went out to Europe for a while and really enjoyed it. But being a GM or a baseball executive, those opportunities were never. You'd have 2 or 3 days off. Pretty tough to go that far for a day or two. So
yeah, especially during the trade deadline, right? You don't get away too much during the trade deadline. Yeah, it was. Well, what'd you think? I mean, I know you were away, but you were able to read news. What's going on? What do you think of the trade deadline? Who helped themselves the most? Who do you think maybe could have done more?
Well, I mean, the thing that caught my attention right away was the New York Mets. You're paying $88 million to get rid of 2 pitchers. I mean, could you have signed him in the first place if you're paying nearly $100 million to rid yourself of them? I mean, that to me is, I've never seen anything close to that. And it shows that you can't necessarily buy a championship. You gotta be aware of where players are at in their career too. Both guys can pitch still, and they still got quality to them. More than not. But you're not getting Cy Young performances out of them necessarily. So that was surprising to me. The Giants were interesting, staying pat there, except for AJ Pollock, who I really like, but I'm not sure how much longer the sun's going to be in the sky with him. It's setting pretty quick. But overall, I thought it was interesting. San Diego continues to go deeper and deeper and deeper, doubling down. They may have a chance. They need to play better. Played a little bit better the last 10 days, but, they're trying to get to be a 500 team. I mean, you got to be a 500 team before you can think about doing anything. But there's a lot of interesting things that went on. But the Mets thing really caught my attention.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising the fact that they're paying, like you mentioned, so much to
That's more than some of these payrolls.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that
they back their baseball card. They didn't buy the future.
Right. And the Mets got Ronald Acuña's brother, who's supposed to be a pretty good prospect, stealing a lot of bases, fast speed. Doesn't have the power his brother has, but more of a slasher and stuff. But it's still the fact that they're paying that much, as you said. It seems like they could have either got more prospects, the fact that they're paying so much, or just come back in 24 and try and reboot it, because you're still paying the salary next year.
Yeah, I don't think I think they had to pay that to get the prospects.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how good the prospects will be. There's so much news all the time on prospects. But nobody really knows what they're going to do. You're not talking about sure things. You're talking, got some talent. We'll see how it goes. And, playing in Houston or playing in Arlington isn't like playing in New York City.
Right.
Totally different dynamic. So, how tough-minded are the players? Are they going to be able to play with massive expectation? I mean, massive expectation, especially after this year. So, that's a lot to ask for young players. And, I'm not sure it solves the issue.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up about the New York City, because not only does he carry his brother's name, how do you say his first name, Eric? Lucinga or something like that?
Who are you talking about?
Acuna.
Oh, his brother? I think it's Luis Angel. Luis Angel?
Something
like
like
that?
Angel, Luis Angel or something maybe like that. But the fact that he's got that pressure he's got to carry, and then he's got New York City. I mean, they are going to be like, they're expecting. I mean, you just got traded for Max Scherzer, so you're going to have to, I know what that's like. I had a older brother that was a star football player, went on to play at Cal, was all Pac-10 defensive back the year Ronnie Lott and Kenny Easley came out of, were in that class. Had a tryout with the Minnesota Vikings, and then I go in to play freshman football, and I say, who wants to play this position? I go, oh, I'd like to play over there. And he puts everybody who had raised their hand that wanted to play, and he put me in a position that my brother started at. And I was like, I wasn't anything close to my brother, but it was like, dang, I had all this expectations, and it's like, there's no way I was going to live up to what he was able to do. But yeah. So I think
especially because New York is such a big market, right? New York is one of the biggest markets out there. And as the Mets or the Yankees, you're almost expected to always be in contention, right? So I think what made it really interesting is the Mets GM, Billy Epler, he sort of just cut bait. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice the next year or two, maybe 3 years. And we're going to go all in for 2026 and 2027. So, Ned, I think one question I have for you is, what is that like? Especially, I mean, you were the GM of the Dodgers, right? That's a big market. You sort of almost always have to be in contention, right? So, I mean, what is that decision like? What is that thought process like? And at what point do you just have to be like, you know what? This is what's best for the team.
Well, Bora, I was very, very fortunate. In 23 of my last 25 years, I have to worry about that. We contended. We had a chance to win. You're always looking to add, not subtract. I think it's tough to do in a big market. It's very tough to do, especially, I think, in their case, because they started off with such fanfare. This was going to be the team. This is going to, we're really going to do something big. Who cares about the luxury tax? We're going to pay, again, more than some teams' payrolls and luxury tax, and so you're coming off of that too. But, a tough decision. I think that, I think Scherzer met with the owner and with Billy a day or two before the deal. And they probably said, hey, we don't know what we're going to be doing in the next offseason. And he probably said, well, get me out of here. So that probably, didn't help the cause any. But, that happens. That happens a lot, and, once you give the players the right to have conversations and to dictate a little bit, you're kind of running into a tough go. And, players want out. But yet players are typically the people who create the situation, not one player, but the collection of players. They just didn't play well. So, let me out and let me, get I'll still get paid what I'm going to get. Plus I'll get a big raise because I'm going to a place with no state income tax, and I'll go to a team with a chance to win. Boom, right there. Mm-hmm. So kind of the rights of the player and how the players are really in the advantageous position most of the time. But to get back to your question, I mean, I didn't do it. I don't think from 1997 on. You know, it was always, I traded Rafael Furcal one year. That wasn't like blowing it up. He's going to be a free agent. I want to give him a chance to win in St. Louis, which he did. You know, but I think that may have been 1 year with the Giants after the 96 season, starting in 97. 1 year with the Giants and 1 year in LA in 25. So that's something I was interested in doing, and that's something that I had a whole lot of experience in doing. I can't imagine the conversation between Mr. Cohen and Mr. Epler. That was not an easy conversation, I'm sure, for Billy.
Wow. Yeah. Just an update on the Giants game. It's 8-6 now in the bottom of the seventh. Michael Conforto lost a ball out in the sun in right field. You could see he was struggling. The ball actually went into the glove and popped out as he kind of was ducking down to his knee and just trying to guess where the ball went. And man, that's the second ball today I've seen up in the sun. That is brutal. That Northern California sky this time of year.
Got a high sky. Yep.
Yeah, very tough. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you, Bora, but I've had it happen to me. Losing a ball in the sun, it's one of the worst feelings in the world because you don't know if you're going to get conked in the face, in the head, anywhere, and yet you're trying best you can to catch the ball. Ned, you saw a lot of that, I'm sure. Yeah, you saw a lot of that at Candlestick with the winds and just all, as Krueger calls it, the pop-up dance. What was that like watching a game at Candlestick, just seeing, I mean, pop-ups galore that would just drop in on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, it was never easy at Candlestick.
Yeah.
Either as a visiting team or as the home team. You know, the home team a little bit more advantage, a little bit more accustomed to it. But, you know, it was I'm glad I had a chance to work there, and I'm glad I had a chance to come in there as a visiting executive, but it was always an adventure.
Yeah.
Hey, Ned,
yeah.
So talking about the big market teams, how vital is it for a GM to possess some very good public relations type of I guess attributes? Because I know it's got to be difficult for a GM, because not only are you trying to build the team the best that you can, but you also got the fan base that is constantly, whether it's them dogging you or them praising you. That's something that you're going to have to fight, and you got to be able to communicate what direction that you're trying to take the ball club. Now, every GM, of course, the primary goal, you want to win. And I don't think you're not giving away any state secrets, by a GM coming out there and saying, hey, this is the direction we want to go to try to win games. So is that a vital part as far as a GM to possess some very good public relations type skills?
Well, I think it's very important that you have media relations skills, that you know how to deal with the media. I don't think you can do the job without being respectful of the media. You've got different media now because of social media. You've got some people that just blog, that are in the room or on a conference call. You've got to be able to cultivate a relationship with just about everybody, and especially those at major newspapers or major TV, radio stations, or big-time bloggers. You have to be able to do that, and that takes time. You can't just do it. When something bad happens. You've got to have laid the groundwork through months or years so that they understand what's going on. There was, I tried to build as good a relationship as I could, both in all three cities I worked in, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, because I know it's imperative. The media is really the conduit to the fan base.
Correct.
And, like I use the example all the time, no matter who our favorite athlete is, entertainer, or whatever, unless we know them personally, not just the four of us, but people listening or anybody, our opinion, unless we know them, is really derived from what the media says. I know so many people that, have disdain for Barry Bonds. They don't know him. They just read about him.
Right.
And I know him, and I don't see it the same way. But your media is going to have a far greater audience than any one person is going to have. So you have to have that type of relationship with people. You'll get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt if you do, and you'll be able to, off the record, explain some things so that they can understand it better. Some people in LA that they were doing radio and I didn't listen to much radio when I was coming back and forth from Dodger Stadium. But if we were playing in San Diego and I was driving up to 5 to LA after a night game, and there was somebody doing some post-game stuff, and I wait for, and if they were off base on somebody, I wait till a commercial, I call them. I said, you can go wherever you want. I mean, it's your show, but let me give you the real viewpoint of it, so that you don't look foolish, a week from now.
Right.
And and they found that helpful. But you gotta really build that up. If you don't do it, you can't hide.
Right.
I think that's a great point that you brought up, because we don't know what really is going on, and as you said, sometimes you able to give the background information of what's really going on. But in cases like we recently did a show that was somewhat critical of the Giants' lack of trade movement, not because they didn't make any moves. I had no problem with them not making moves,
right.
But Farhan came out and said, we're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. And so he's the one who set the stage for, fans being engaged and excited about, hey, the Giants are going all in to be aggressive. And his only move was AJ Pollock. And that, as I said, my frustration or criticalness was because, hey, you're the one. It was your words, not mine. I'm not. You came out, and that, I think that's where maybe Eric was going with the type of question, is having those skills to communicate with the press or the public in any way. Is like, I think you're better off just keeping your cards close to your vest, aren't you?
Well, we talked about this either on your show, Danny, or on the Krueger show.
Yeah.
I would never tell anybody, predict anything. Unless you're running two teams at the same time. You're the agent and the GM, or you're the player and the GM. You can't predict what's going to happen, and you set up false expectations. I didn't hear him say it, so I'm taking your word for it.
Well, it was in the press. It was in the press. It was in 3 or 4 different publications, and he says he was.
You're setting yourself up for a tough day.
He said he was misquoted, and I read the quote again, and in a way, I can see where he's maybe he left himself an out, but he didn't really explain himself too well, because the quote was something like, "We don't know. Injuries can happen, but we plan to be very aggressive at the deadline."
Well, you can plan on it, but again, you don't have any control over it. Hang on one second. I'll be right back.
Sure. We'll get to Ted Mosby's question when Ned comes back. Right now, the Giants at the A's game, they're doing the wave. Giants are leading off top of the 8th. Wilmer Flores is leading off down 8-6. So we'll keep you updated.
This is a tough weekend for them. They better come back and win this game.
Yeah.
I just watched Oakland play the other day. I mean, if you have designs on being a playoff team, you've got to beat teams like this, especially at the half of a season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
You got the Dodgers playing, the team you're chasing. The Dodgers playing San Diego, which should be 3 good games, and have been. The 8th inning in both games dictated how the final went in both games. But you got Oakland that's lost half. They've lost 81 games, 81 games.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Months to play.
It's
Dodgers swept them.
Exactly. They actually have another game tomorrow. Weird schedule this year. Dodgers and Padres play again tomorrow. It's not even a holiday weekend. So a fourth game on a Monday. Yeah. Hey, we got a question for you here from Ted Mosby, who donates $4.99. He says, "Hey, Ned, if there ever was a sure thing prospect for baseball, who would they be in your opinion with your experience?"
Young Barry Bonds.
Mm.
Sure thing. Young Clayton Kershaw. Sure thing. I mean, you look at the elite players in any era, and they were all ahead of everybody. They needed the experience, they needed the innings, they needed the at bats. Barry didn't have much. He came pretty quick to Pittsburgh. I saw him play early in his career there, and Clayton was in the big leagues a couple years after he got drafted out of high school. Madison, probably another guy. Tim, another guy. Buster, another guy. So the elite players, they're elite. They just don't. Very few players become elite after they're drafted or signed. Very few. Most are on that path to be elite. And not that there's any sure thing because things change all the time. But those guys. You could watch Barry Bonds play at ASU, or you could watch Barry Bonds play in the first couple of weeks in Pittsburgh, which I did, and you'd say, this guy's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I drafted Clayton, so I had designs on that. Corey Seager, kind of the same thing. You knew they were going to be good.
Right.
And the question was going to be, how good?
Now, did you draft Bellinger, or was that just after? You did? No?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We did.
What round was Cody? Did he go in?
I think he went in the fourth round.
Okay.
And one home run in high school.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it's great to see him have a comeback year like he's doing right now.
He's carrying that team. The Cubs, they won again today against the Braves. I mean, that's
wow. Hey, I picked the Cubs to win that division the way they're playing. And that lineup is really coming together, and Chicago's getting pretty excited right now with the fan base. I don't see – I mean, their run differential is like close to plus 80, and they are hitting on all cylinders. I mean, they've got a good lineup. But what did you see in Cody to draft him with only one home run in the –
Well, I knew his dad, from the Giants.
Oh, Clay?
Yeah. So, I knew the DNA. I knew the kid was going to know how to play. Athleticism was strong. Drafted him as a first baseman. You're typically not drafting many high school first basemen. And saw the athleticism too. And thought, he'll be able to play another spot. And obviously he's become a Gold Glove outfielder. So a lot of things like that. When you know the family a little bit and you've seen the dad play and you see how the dad worked, you have a pretty good idea that the kid's going to have a chance. And we always, and I was kind of surprised that he struggled the last couple of years because Corey Seager may have been the most, had the greatest perspective of a young player I'd been around, 18, 19, 20 years old. Cody was probably the player who could adjust the best. A younger player, we always pushed him up a level. He'd struggle for a month or so and then become the best player in the league. So when he struggled the last couple of years, I was a little bit surprised by that. Not that the big leagues aren't good. I mean, the big leagues are where everybody's going to struggle at some point in time, but that he didn't have this type of year he's having this year a year ago. So.
Yeah, I really was pushing that the Giants go after him heavy this year because a guy that to me said, I only want a 1-year contract and nothing else, tells me he believes in himself enough and that he's determined to have a great year for that big contract. And, I think Bellinger had the rough year or two personally from looking at him and reading a lot of Dodger sites that when he separated his shoulder celebrating that home run in the 2020 season in the playoffs, or it might have been in the World Series, he came back pretty soon after surgery, and I think he developed some bad habits with his swing because of the adjusting to the surgery, the pain, and I think he obviously he realized he could correct that this year, being much healthier, 2 years removed from the surgery. I mean, he's playing. If it wasn't for Acuna this year, he's playing at an MVP type level, and he's going to make some money in this offseason. I mean, we were kind of guessing, Ned. He's only 28, 29, I believe, something like that. A guy with a breakout year this year, hitting over 300, hitting for power and hitting lefties again. I mean, don't you think that's probably a $200 million contract, 730-7, something like that? Or
Well, he's doing it at the right time, and he's certainly got the right agent in Scott.
Right.
So those things are obviously in his favor. You know, I'm just in a general overview, and this isn't directed at Cody. You know, the Bally's bankruptcies and what that has done to so many teams' financial ability. You know,
good point.
I think that's going to have an effect on a lot of different clubs. Some teams are losing. You know, if it doesn't get rectified some way, you know, they're losing a huge portion of their revenue.
Wow.
So, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Arizona was affected by that. I was watching the Valley down here. Yeah. Interesting.
Half the teams, I think. I mean, everybody, like so many people have that network, and
that's a large portion of their income there with those TV contracts.
Hey, by the way, the Giants.
What's fueled the baseball world for generations, and the other ones too. It's really television, national television, and local TV rights. And teams went from having a local station doing games. I think didn't KTVU?
Yep.
Yeah, and when I was there, I think that's who was doing the games. And now you've got an RSN, and Dodgers have a massive RSN that's helped them have payrolls in the 250 range, over 200 range, and so as you are, it'd be like one of us having a nice job with a nice income and buying a big house, and then suddenly your salary gets cut in half or you lose your job. You don't lose the mortgage payment.
Right.
So these teams that have committed long-term deals, these teams that are affected by it, that have committed long-term deals, how are they going to make that money up? You may also have depending on what teams know when you get into the wintertime, not only might free agency be affected to some extent, but you may see teams trading people too, trying to get out from underneath big contracts, even if the players are productive, because of revenue. And there's very few people in the sports world where you have a lot of people of great wealth and really smart people. There's not many that will just blatantly lose money without thinking about it. That's not how they got to be where they are.
Right.
So, if your revenue drives salary, if your revenue is taking a hit you didn't expect, I'm not sure how that gets ferreted out, but I think it does get ferreted out. Now, what Major League Baseball does about it with doing their own, doing the games in-house, so to speak, I'm not sure what the financial situation of that will be, but it's an interesting time. I thought I'll get off the conversation here in a second, but I started in 1982. It's my first year. I wrote sports for about 4 years. Started with the Cubs, my hometown team, in 1982. And our highest paid player when I got there was Billy Buckner, making $400,000. Then we acquired Larry Boa. He was making, I think, $500,000. Okay. And people would say, when does this end? When is the gravy train for the players financially going to end? Well, we just saw 2 pitchers get traded. We're making $43 million a year, I think.
Yeah.
So, it hasn't ended. But as you look at it, if you were going to do an analytical chart, your media revenue, your TV national, your TV local, to some extent your radio local, That's gone up like the salaries. And the value of the teams has gone up right with it because of, really, in my opinion, the popularity of the sport or any sport and the TV situation.
Just giving you an update on the Giants. They go to the ninth, trailing 8-6. In the eighth inning, Oakland struck out the side. Giants 1, 2, 3, all three strikeouts. So looking.
Where do the Giants go next?
Anaheim. Head to Anaheim for 3 against the Angels, and then back home for 3 against Texas and 3 against Tampa. Then they head to the road with Atlanta and Philly. It's going to be a tough August.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's bad. It's bad.
They better stay in Oakland and try and figure out how to win. That's tough, boy.
Yeah, I mean, looks like they're going to lose to the A's unless they make a real comeback. But
this will make the A's season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
they get the Bay Bridge trophy as well. That's the only
Yep.
trophy they'll
Yeah,
need.
that's Ned, what do you think about the San Diego Padres? Yeah, I was almost expecting them maybe to sell, maybe stand pat, but they went out, got a couple of pieces. It looks like, their pitching has been great, and now their lineup is starting to heat up here. You see them making a run for at least a wild card?
Yeah, I think they've got a good chance of doing that. I think, like everybody in the game, we were surprised by New York. We were surprised by San Diego after what they did. AJ Preller is for him to not compete with this team, to not to try to make it better. It probably goes against every part of them. And I think, so I wasn't necessarily surprised that they added. I think if they can start playing up to the potential of it, top 4 guys in the who the big 4 are, and then really Kim has been playing a lot better. But some of the other guys, if they can start to hit like they have in the past, you may be able to put together a run. And if they get into the postseason, they're going to have an extra series to play, no doubt. So that's 3 more starts, 3 more pitching situations, 3 more wear and tear on you. But they may cause somebody trouble because they have talent, but it hasn't it's been lacking most of the year. I'm going to make an observation from Friday night's game against LA that they go into the 8th inning with a 1-run lead. They need to win that game. Like the Giants need to beat Oakland. They need to beat the Dodgers head-to-head.
Yeah.
And they go in there, and I think Sanchez may have been pitching for San Diego. I apologize if I'm incorrect on that. But, he falls behind Kike Hernandez, who's hitting 220. Good player and energetic and all of that, but not a great year. That's why he got traded. Falls behind him, and he ends up singling. And now you got the Thunder coming up. Now you got Mookie, and you got Freddie, and you got Will Smith, and on. And they end up giving up a bunch of runs in that 8th inning. And what I see with that is, and this is where I think it separates teams. And I think the Giants fall in the on the back half of this comment, on the side of where the San Diego is, which then, in my opinion, they have to get over if they're going to compete. You watch a game and you watch it pitch to pitch, and you watch coming into the top of the 8th inning, obviously at home, with a lead in a very big game, and you cannot throw strikes. If you go back and you pull up the 8th inning, hit by pitch, I think, and there are a couple of walks. I think somebody walked in a run. You can't win like that.
No.
Because every pitch there's a difference to it. And it changes the entire game. And on the other side of it, in the bottom of the 8th, Dodgers can make a pitch. So it may be 1 pitch, it may be 2 pitches in the course of an inning, a full inning, 2 halves. But it changes the entire game. And if you're going to really win and compete, you've got to have guys that can make that pitch.
Right.
You got to go and get Kike Hernandez out to start that 8th inning.
Yep.
And face Mookie with nobody on and go at it that way. But when you walk somebody or you give up a hit to somebody hitting at the bottom of the order, your confidence starts to waver. That you fell behind them, I think 2-0. That's not good. And it just kind of snowballs after that. And I've seen the Giants a lot this year on television, and I see that from them from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
They fall behind a hitter.
Yep.
Hitters are good. Pitchers
Yes.
are. But when you lose those battles or you give in and you put it in the hitter's favor, you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
until San Diego gets to that point where their bullpen or their starters, whoever, can make a pitch, that's just a saying. Can the guy make a pitch? That means can he throw a strike in a good location in the strike zone?
Right.
Not just throw a strike, but throw a good, effective strike. Can he do that? Can he get ahead of hitters? I'd be curious if anybody's got the internet on and they can look up that eighth inning. I mean, I'll walk you through it if you can tell me exactly who did what. But
Go
I think
for it, Bora.
I'll try to pull it up.
Yeah, while he's pulling that up, we got one question for you, all the way from the UK. Liam's crazy channel out in the UK who follows us. He says, Ned, what's your favorite ballpark to go to?
London Stadium. No, only kidding. He says he's from the UK.
Yeah.
Royal Albert Hall. But I grew up in Wrigley Field, so Wrigley Field will always be my favorite of any ballpark built in the last 35, 30 years or so. Oracle Field. I mean, it's, after working in Candlestick and then, for half my Giants tenure and then the other half in what was then the new ballpark. I mean, I don't know that there's ever been such a drastic change.
Oh, no doubt.
Franchise in a city. Those are two of my favorites. Fenway's all, the older ones are typically my favorites. Dodger Stadium, still immaculate. It always, I thought it was so interesting that in a city so crowded like LA, here's all this acreage sitting on just a little bit of the outskirts of downtown with all this parking. Phenomenal place, and honor to work there. I got to work in three great ballparks and a fourth that was interesting.
Oh yeah, Wrigley. Yeah, I love going to Dodger games in LA when I lived down there. I definitely miss the Dodger dogs, the Farmer John dogs.
They're gone now too.
I know they're gone. Yeah.
Boy, did you find that inning?
Yes. Okay. So Kike Hernandez singles.
Yep.
Mookie Betts walks.
Yep.
Freeman lines out to the shortstop.
Okay.
Will Smith strikes out.
So you got two outs now and two guys out. So you're almost out of it. You've almost rallied from the 2-0 base hit and then walking the next guy with a 1-run lead, Go ahead.
David Peralta doubles.
Yep.
Robert Suarez intentionally walks Jason Hayward.
Yep.
Chris Taylor walks.
3 walks.
Was that with bases loaded?
Yes.
That's a bases loaded walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then JD Martinez walks.
4 walks.
Yep.
Snowball.
And then I think they got another hit after that. Doesn't show it though.
That brings up a question for you, Ned, that was brought up recently.
Let me just finish my thought.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
Danny. So you're trying to win games. You're trying to beat the team that you're supposed to be beating in the race this year. You're trying to get to the wild card, and you got somebody that comes in and walks 4 guys at home with a 1-run lead. Please.
It's almost like the same thing that happened to the Giants last night.
There you go. So,
Well, yeah.
what are your points, Danny?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Bora that. Did you bring this up to me, Bora, about walking a guy with?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got second and third yesterday. I think it was the 8th inning, 1-1 ball game. And I understand walking a guy for a different reason, intentionally walking him for setting up a force or getting the pitching matchup you desire, lefty on lefty. But when you do that, you kind of force the pitcher to come in with his best, pitch, because that batter's now thinking, okay, he can't afford to walk me, so I'm looking for a pitch, especially the first pitch. And what did he do? Lefty on lefty, drills a shot to right field for a base hit on the first pitch. Seth Brown off of Scott Alexander. That was the winning run.
I think didn't they walk Hayward intentionally? Or when you were just walking through that?
In that situation with the Dodgers, yeah.
Hayward.
I think you said that. I think you said he got intentionally walked.
Yeah, he
intentionally walked.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone wants some attention.
Yeah.
What's that?
They walked Hayward, right?
Oh, the cat. Oh, there, yeah. Okay,
they walked Hayward, and then come on, Habs, you got to move around here, brother. So they walked Hayward, and then walked the next hitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Right.
So think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was sort of my
can't do that.
My questioning. It's like when you walk the bases loaded, and especially an intentionally walk, it can rattle with a pitcher's mental, right? Because like as a pitcher, you're focused to like hit the corners, hit your spots. But when you can't afford to walk anybody, it's sort of almost like you have to come in and you just have to throw strikes. Your focus is sort of like, oh, not walking this guy, right?
Yeah, I think it does take the advantage away from the pitcher when the bases are loaded intentionally, because like you said, Bar, you can't, especially guys like Alexander who doesn't have blowaway stuff. He's got to hit his spots. He's got to pitch to corners. And when you take that element away from him, Brown is sitting on a, one right down the middle, and boom, he didn't waste time. Yeah. And I just think sometimes when you load the bases just for a platoon advantage, I mean, these are major league hitters, and I get it. There's statistics and guys, but hey, if you're a big league hitter, you can hit a pitch that you're expecting to come down the middle. It's just, come on. I mean, these guys grew up hitting this, these guys weren't platoon players all their lives. Otherwise they wouldn't have been in the big leagues. So, I get a little frustrated watching too much platooning. It really is a style that the Giants tend to play. But I look at the best teams, Ned, Braves, the Dodgers, the Rangers,
Cubs.
They don't mess with platoons. They just put their best hitters out there.
Yep. That's so the Giants got beat.
Yeah, 8-6. They got beat.
They got swept in Oakland.
What's that?
Have you seen the Dodgers score? They just started in San Diego.
Yeah, it started at 4:00. So
why don't you check that out?
Update right now.
I saw Freeman. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 6-0 Dodgers. End of 2.
Okay, so now you're driving back from Oakland. You're either going San Mateo Bridge or Bay Bridge, and you messed up 2 games, and you get the score of that game. Now, sure, a lot of innings to go, but it's 6-0, a little bit of a deficit.
Yeah, Lance Lynn going.
How you feeling? How you feeling?
Yeah. And that Rosario pickup is pretty good. He's been playing really good. He got a home run.
Player.
Yeah,
and they're going to get Walker Buehler back in another 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh, I was
on pitch in another week.
Yeah, they were going to run away with this division.
Yeah.
I said a week ago when the Giants were not hitting, maybe a week and a half ago, I said Dodgers will win the division by 10 games because they'll face the Giants again 6 more times, and they're not going to be caught like they were in LA. They'll probably take at least 4 of those 6, if not 5, maybe even all 6.
This weekend has told a big story, I think.
It has.
I think as you dissect this season, going on a limb a little bit, long time yet to play, but I think you'll look back at this weekend and go, missed a chance.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Ned, I have another question. Or Dan, I don't know if you want to get to that first.
Yeah, let's do this real quick and then you'll go follow. Hi guys, from Mark Hope. Thanks, Mark, for the $5. Ned, any thoughts on Bochy riding back into town next week with his first place Rangers? Great to see you guys.
I think it's great for Bochy.
Mm-hmm.
I think, never worked with him, but obviously had teams that competed against his teams. We were in the National League West, the two of us, for probably decades, 2 decades, probably at least. And so much respect. And it's great to see him have success, and anybody that wouldn't take the opportunity to sit with him or sit with Brian and learn more about the game. That to me is, I don't know who does and who doesn't, or who did or who didn't, but I think that's a great missed opportunity. The beauty of baseball for me, one of the beauties of it, okay, I stopped working TV a year ago. Loved the game for a long, long time. Is that every day I learn something new. And the more conversations you have with people who have walked the walk, the more you're going to learn. And it's probably the thing I miss the most is being around people like Bochy and Sabes and Joe Torre in my LA days, or Donnie Mattingly, or coaching staff, Rick Honeycutt, great pitching coach, Braggs, great pitching coach. That's how you learn. Look, I wasn't a minor league player. I wasn't a big league player. I didn't, and I was blessed to have the opportunities I had. But, for 25 years, I was associated with some pretty good teams, not because I was a genius, but because I listened to people who were really, really smart at the game. Don Zimmer, Jimmy Fry, Dallas Green, back from my Cub days. And so, to answer the question on Bochy, I think it's great he's coming back to San Francisco with a team as good as Texas is.
Yeah, staying on that subject real quick, Ned, when he came to the Giants, I think it was at the end of the 06 season for the start of 07, you were already with LA in your second year, I think. Did Brian talk to you at all about, do you know Bochy, or what do you?
No,
never did.
Brian and I were like brothers. So when I started having an LA paycheck, on my check, any kind of conversations like that were done. As well they should be. You can't be. It was one of the funny disadvantages I think I had becoming a GM in the same division with after leaving the biggest rival. A lot of guys, if the assistant GM goes on to be a GM, most of them are not in the same division. Most of them are certainly not the biggest rival. You're not going to lose a Boston assistant GM to the Yankees probably, or to the Cardinals and the Cubs. And so, they can continue to talk. If I had gone to an American League team, he and I could have talked every week about stuff. But that I went to where I went.
Yeah.
We were always friends and always would say hello, but we weren't going to, we never wished each other luck because it would have been a hollow statement.
Yeah. I have a feeling that your owner that you worked for LA there for the time he had the club, I think he knew what he was doing. I think he wanted not only you, but he liked the fact that he was taking you away from San Francisco.
I think we had beaten the Dodgers 8 out of 9 years in the standings. I think maybe 8 of my last 9 years in San Francisco, we finished ahead of LA. I think the one time we didn't was when Finley hit the grand slam on the Saturday at the season. But I think we had a good run versus them, and I think that didn't hurt.
Yeah. So, Bora, go ahead. You got a question for Ned?
Yeah, Ned. I don't know if you've been watching the Giants in the past month, but their offensive struggles are huge. And I'm just wondering, what's the vibe in the clubhouse? I mean, they keep stacking wins. which is a good thing. I mean, they're not stacking wins, but they're keeping afloat. But their offense is just horrible. What's the vibe in that clubhouse, and what's the message that you send to the manager or to the team in general, just to try to get out of it?
Well, unless it's a lack of effort, I'm just going back to my own experience, not reading into the Giants. Unless it's a lack of effort, you have to let it play out, and you have to be encouraging, and you can't be heavy-handed. If people's efforts are pure, you can't be heavy-handed to it. And just, patience is the toughest thing to have in sport, especially in the sport of baseball, because you play it almost every day. This ain't the NFL where if the Niners have a tough offensive day, they got 7 days to regroup.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA or the NHL, where sometimes you got 2 or 3 or 4 days to regroup. Baseball, you're right back at it. And I think, if you're heavy-handed and the effort's good, I think you're going to have a tougher time. So I think you just got to play it out, and you got to give people a chance to work their way through it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to win the games you're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why these 2 games in Oakland, I think, are maybe the 2 biggest games on the Giants' schedule so far. You've got to win those games.
Right.
They're a team. Obviously, we know how where they're at talent-wise right now. And they developed a lot of great ones, but most of them are playing in other cities.
Yep.
Yeah. Got another question for
you're going to have a tough time at some point in time. You guys just ran through what's coming up for San Francisco.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't easy teams.
No, they're not.
No.
They're going to pitch. They're going to compete, and they all got something at stake.
Mm-hmm.
Even Anaheim may be the weakest of the group, and they're trying to keep Ohtani and make a point with him. So
yeah. Got another question for you here, Ned. Ned from the chat, Lou Marson says, Ned, this late in the season, our bullpen, talking about the Giants, has no direction except our closer. He says, I've never seen this. No one knows their roles. That's what he meant to say. Every day it is different. I noticed it's different today. Yeah, the guys are coming in high leverage situations that are not there. Ryan Walker, who's been doing a lot of openers, has done well. Yesterday, they put him in the 8th inning. So he goes from an opener to the 8th inning, and he
to a high leverage,
and he ends up kind of, giving the game away. He got a little wild, and it just is that something that how do you deal with that as a player who doesn't? I mean, most bullpens, they seem to kind of have their role, especially in what you would call a pennant race, and you're in the second half. Guys know, hey, I'm 7th innings, mine, 8th innings. They know their kind of role, but they're getting flipped around all over the place. It just seems like, I don't know. I don't understand it personally. What's your thoughts on that?
It's kind of evolved this way the last 5+ years. The same way it's evolved where position players are playing all over the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So teams look for versatility. I don't know if it's the era of the player or what. I mean, it would have been tough for teams I was with to do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have buy-in. And if you don't have buy-in from an athlete, your struggle is magnified far greater. So, that's how I see it. And I preface this by saying, look, I don't know what the Giants' plan is. I don't pretend to know. I'm not, I don't know. But if you look at the trading deadline, and now you look at where they're at, and they know how good the Dodgers are, is this a situation where they say, look, we got a chance to make the postseason. How far are we going to go? Maybe a round. Maybe we win a round. Okay. We're not going to trade out of our farm system, which is starting to percolate a little bit and starting to produce some players. We're not going to remove anybody from that of note. We're not going to necessarily, quote, go for it. We'll see how this goes. And we're going to give a lot of players opportunity in different situations to see how they do. So could that be it? Yeah, I guess anything could be it. But that might be part of the thought process. We've got a good team. The guys play hard. We've got a chance to make the postseason. We're not going to do anything major at the deadline unless it comes our way. And in the meantime, we'll continue to compete. We think we can compete, and we're going to give people a chance in different spots to see if they can do it, to get the experience of doing it. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the thought process, guys.
I think that is the thought process, but I think a problem is that they have some of their best prospects that are just sitting rotting away in AAA. Marco Lucio. Well, they're not rotting away, but I think I would have liked to see the Giants bring them up as like almost a trade deadline acquisition and see what they got to play for the next couple of years.
It's not trying to argue with you, Bora. Nobody knows the players like the team.
It's true.
Nobody knows the AAA guys like the Giants do. Nobody knows who they are, where they're at physically in the year, where they're at mentally in the year. And yeah, you see them. Yeah, you may see them in September. You bring somebody up. How about this idea? You bring somebody up on August 2nd after the trading deadline. You bring up your top 3 prospects. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
3 guys with experience are leaving. Right?
That's true.
Okay. So you do that. And after 2 weeks or after 10 days, 2 starts or 30 at bats, the player's overmatched, starting to really struggle. So now you got to send the player out.
That's a great point. Yeah.
If this player has not been sent out before, you're burning an option.
Mm-hmm.
So when you call somebody up, you got to be sure. That's why people get called up in September, because you don't have to use them if they struggle. You use them as much as you want, and you're not burning an option at the end of the year. If they haven't used an option and you call them up and they never go down that year, you still got all your options left.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to be sure. You need to be sure as you can be. Will you ever be completely sure? Well, we talked about that at the outset of the show with Kirsch or Barry and guys like that, Buster, and on and on. But you better be sure.
And Ned, I know you said you were pretty fortunate never to really be in a position of having to sell, but this particular year, I want to get your perspective on the pressure on the role as GM or head of baseball ops or whatever your title is, president of baseball operations today. Los D, who's been on our show, he's in San Diego this week, and him and I were talking, and we were kind of pushing, feeling like this was a great year to sell because the prices were so high. And
for
the
starting
Giants,
pitchers, yeah.
And for starting pitching, Giants were, they're a team that's right there on the cusp of, they're in the top position of the wild card. But my goodness, Baltimore was looking for pitching. Houston was looking for pitching. Texas looking for pitching. You had a guy who's 35, and Alex Cobb, who's been an all-star. Don't know how much longer he has, but you probably could have got someone like the Orioles, number 12 prospect in all of baseball for a Cobb this year because the prices were so high. And the one thing that I was saying is San Francisco can get pitching. They can't get controllable hitters to come to their ball team. You don't get them in free agency. And if you can get them when they're young and control them and maybe they are productive, you can sign them like Atlanta does and sign them to a 7-8 year contract beyond their arbitration years. What is that like as a GM, the pressure when you got a contending team, but you're not really sure if that team's got enough to get you through all the way into end of October? what does that do to a clubhouse? Do you have to really delicately manage that? I mean, if you trade one of your star players away for a great prospect, can that blow up the clubhouse by saying, "Hey, he doesn't believe"? What do you do in that situation? How does that feel? The pressure on that on a
Unless
GM
you're
like that?
prepared to lose a lot of games, you can't do it.
Okay.
What are you telling your team? These
Gotcha.
aren't robots. These are human beings.
Mhm.
Right.
What are you telling, your 3 starter says goodbye to everybody, packs his stuff, and leaves.
Cleveland did it. Look, they were a game out.
Yeah, that's fine.
But do you think that's I mean, Cleveland just did it with Savelli, and they were one game out when they traded him. They've fallen apart since then. My guess is the locker room is
Well, that's why I just said you better be prepared to lose a lot of games.
right. Right.
We
but
talked on this show and the Krug show in the season. Giants need to start to get fan. I think you brought up the attendance.
yeah.
Mhm.
You want to go the last 2 months of the season with half the ballpark empty?
Mm.
You want to tell your veteran players, hey, we'll see you next year. You guys have played hard. You've had a season better than most people predicted, but we're gonna start to dismantle now. You're not the Mets.
No.
You haven't disappointed. You've actually probably played better than people thought. And instead of even keeping it the same, you're going to start taking it apart. Well, you better be ready. If there's 50 games left, you better be ready to lose 30 some of them.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
have your ballpark half filled.
Yeah.
So it's not about getting that potential prospect. It's about the cohesiveness of your club by making a trade like that.
Your clubhouse is always a very
Delicate.
delicate, perfect word. And sometimes you bring somebody in at the deadline and it rejuvenates everybody. Sometimes somebody comes off the IL, rejuvenates everybody. Or sometimes you start to take it apart and everybody knows, hey, I'm playing for statistics the rest of the way, or, my shoulders bothered me. I'm not going out there anymore. You watch how many teams end up doing that are in the race. I mean, Cleveland will be a pretty good study, although they have a Hall of Fame manager over there leading it too, and Terry. What's your message?
Yeah.
All right, Ned.
What are you going to do next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got two.
Like I said earlier, and I've said all year for years, they're minor league players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless they're Barry or Kirsch or Buster, who are they going to be?
Right.
Well, we're getting close to wrapping up here with Ned. I've got a couple more questions for him. I want to get your thoughts. We've got two extremes in our chat. We've got our two oldest followers. One is super optimistic. Everything is, sky is blue and it's just a beautiful sunny day. Giants are going to win it all. And that's Robert Rothberg all the way from the East Coast. He says the veterans will lead us to the World Series. And then we've got Greg Dayton, who says, we just got swept by an 80-loss team. I'm 100% done with this team.
Oh, these
where
guys.
where do you fall closer to between those two?
That's great.
Well, I've been where Greg is right now, but I don't think I'm done with the team. They can understand.
You almost made me spit my water out.
And who was the name of the first guy?
Robert Rothberg.
Robert didn't put what team he's talking about. He may have,
good point.
Junior is a veteran. Albie is a veteran.
Yeah.
You probably need that team. Yeah, he's probably right.
I love it.
All right. Well, final question before we let you go here, Ned. And the Dodgers are 6-1 right now, bottom of the third. The question is this: the Dodgers, they got those runs off of Rich Hill, who was a former Dodger, but he's 42-ish right now, and he throws a ball. I mean, I probably couldn't, but it looks like I could go up there and hit it. But the Giants, go up there against Rich Hill and get nothing.
Yeah, they
The
struggled.
Dodgers approach to pitchers like Rich Hill, Tyler Rogers, I've watched them. They go and they wait for the pitch that they can hit. They lay off the stuff that's outside the zone. They know it's all going to be soft stuff. And yet once the pitch is in the zone, they drive it. Why is it that one team can do that and another team can't? I just don't understand that.
That's what separates mediocre, bad from mediocre, mediocre from good, good to great, and great to Hall of Fame.
Great.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's how it goes.
I mean, is it coaching? Is it, I mean, because there's,
I'm gonna ask you, Danny, how many times have you seen the coach go up and hit?
Yeah.
Or the
but I mean, is it, I mean, by coaching, is it an approach where they, before the game, say, hey, look,
Skill of the player.
I don't think anybody's inventing anything here.
Mm-hmm.
I think people who've watched the game for any length of time, minimal, but still understand the game, would tell you, yeah. So how would you, if you were a hitter, what would you do? I think everybody would give you the way you explain the Dodgers would say that's what we do. Not everybody's going to do it, and that's the difference. That's one of the things that I respect so much about LA. They've been winning a long time.
And 11 years in a row it's going to be.
They haven't gotten tired of winning.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten tired of what it takes to win. Because it takes a lot to win. They haven't gotten tired of it. They stay hungry, they stay thirsty. And that's how they do it. And that's how they beat teams over and over and over again. And in a 3-game series, that 12th or 13th pitcher on a staff, if the other team's going to have to use that pitcher, you better have a large lead. Because that cat's going to give it up against a team like that has at bats like that.
Yeah, and it's impressive to watch.
We've tied the conversation almost perfectly with us running through the 8th inning in San Diego the other night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a great point. Well, Ned, we really appreciate your time coming on to the show today. We'll have to have you on when the Giants take a trip to the East Coast later this month. I think they're in Atlanta and Philly. Maybe one of those games where it's earlier in the evening, we can catch you for a post-game show around 7:30, something like that.
Always good to be on with you, Danny and Eric, and good to meet you, Bor.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you so much, Ned. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, buddy. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, everybody. Special treat there.
Awesome. Awesome, man.
Ned Colletti giving us wisdom, years of wisdom in the big leagues.
Love it.
Man, I tell you, it is frustrating to watch, the Dodgers just pound on guys that the Giants
they just have the talent. That's what they have. They got the talent.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, certain guys, that teams that have talent that are, top of the game talent, I think it's infectious. It goes down the lineup, the camaraderie of the team. You see a Freddie Freeman, a Mookie Betts go up there and their approach, and
it's a major league approach. It's a superstar major league player approach. That's what.
And then you get the Giants going up there just swinging and missing and hacking and
got swept by the worst team in the major leagues. The worst, not the worst in the National League like it was with Colorado, but in the entire league. Come on, guys. Yeah, great. They scored 6 runs, so I'll give them that. But here we go, starting to get into the dog days. Maybe pitchers are getting tired.
I don't know, man. You lose to Oakland too.
That's rough.
You know, hey,
That's rough.
That's the bottom of the bottom.
That's the
I
bottom of the
mean,
bottom.
this is
Exactly.
this is the kind of stuff that you know, can send. You know, I've been saying it all year, and you know, can this team still make the playoffs? Yes. Can they turn it around? Yes. But it's what 500 teams do. They go up, they come down. They go up, they come down. You know, it's just do. I mean, we just saw them go on a road trip, lose 6 in a row. They win the first 5, lose the next 6, come home, win 7 out of 9. Now they're back on the road. They've lost the first 2, as you said, Eric, to the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, crazy.
Not just the worst team in baseball, but maybe one of the worst all-time teams.
All-time teams in
Yeah.
baseball history.
No, yeah, history, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're flirting with the 62 Mets, but I don't think they're going to make that. I think they don't lose 120 like the Mets did. They'll probably lose anywhere between 112, 115. But you know, the fact that this team now is going to go on the road for 3 against Anaheim, who's fighting for their lives.
Yep.
Then they come home to a Texas team. The Bochy's going to come in here, and you know he's going to want to make a statement. Plus, they're fighting for a division crown. Tampa Bay's trying to get back into the top spot in the American League East. They got their work cut out for them, and
we were talking about it before they started the series. What record you wanted them to have these next 5 games before they get into the tough part of the season?
I said they needed to go minimum 3-2, ideally
Exactly.
4-1, and now they're going to have to sweep Anaheim to make it a 3-2 trip. But they may come back 1-4. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised.
It might be
0-5. 0-5. Yep.
I mean, the only thing they got going for them is they got Webb going. I think Tuesday. Let's take a look and see if the pitching matchups have been set for this series against the Angels. Okay, tomorrow night it's they have moved Webb. He was Tuesday. They moved him to tomorrow against Patrick Sandoval, the lefty. Okay, so we're going to go with the lefty. So we're going to see Mark Mathias tomorrow, okay? We're going to see Estrada at short. I mean, Crawford needs a day off. He made 2 errors today. Two throwing errors. Looked bad at the plate again today.
Yeah, I was really concerned when he's legged out that double play. He had to go all out. Sprinting, yeah.
Batting a cool 206.
I think he's okay straight ahead. It's more of the lateral.
Yes, the lateral. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like. I put out a tweet today that Kapler mentioned in the spring training that they were going to have to manage Crawford's knee like they did Buster in 21, not overplaying him, 3 games in a row. Now we're seeing Crawford. He's back. He's come off the IL last Saturday. And did he play Sunday? I think
they gave him 2 games off, remember, because they had the day off.
Yeah, I think he played Sunday. But he's played every game except the 1 day off. He had an actual team day off, but he's playing. He's in the lineup again. And my point is hopefully they learn, and he's not. He's already had 2 IL stints this year from overplaying him. The knee didn't just all of a sudden in his 10 days on the IL get healed. He's going to have to deal with this knee situation. Carlo P. No bait and switch here, Carlo.
No. Larry had something going on with the Niners, so he couldn't make it.
Yeah, I didn't hear back from Larry, so he was going to come on, but I think something came up. Niners. Anyway, so is Larry still on, by the way, or is
I don't know.
off?
I don't think he's on.
Yeah, it looks like it's over now. Yeah. He was going live while we were live, and anyway, so here's the deal. Crawford is not tomorrow. They're facing a lefty, so you're gonna see an outfield of. I can almost guarantee that Pollock's in left field. Matos will be in center. Slater may be in right. He may be the DH, and they may put Conforto in right and let Flores play first base and have Wade sit. That would be my best guess that Slater's not in the field. But it's going to be a right-handed lineup, and I expect it to be the infield of Davis, Estrada at short, and second base Matthias, first base probably Flores.
Or is it Mathis? I don't know.
Mathis, I think it is. He's a journeyman. He did have with Texas last year in like 60 at bats, was hitting over 300 with 5 homers. I'm not saying he's going to come up here and do wonders. My guess is he's holding a roster spot for a couple weeks, and that would not be surprised to see him DFA'd when they bring back Schmidt or Luciano and Harrison. Harrison will be the roster spot that they'll need, and they'll need to DFA somebody off the 40, and I've seen Farhan do it 100 times. The guy he most recently picked up is here today and gone tomorrow.
Yep. I'll tell you one thing, though, that Harrison call it maybe longer than you think. He looked bad yesterday in that game.
I don't think that's an issue. I think it's just a pitch count. Get him out there. He's probably got one more start now. I bet you if he pitched well, he would have been up this week. My guess is he still could be up this week.
He had no control last night. None.
But the main thing is he got some pitches in. Didn't get re-injure his hamstring that we know of. I haven't heard anything. Get him out there next week in sack and have him go 65 pitches. He pitched 42 pitches. One of the things they've done is really, really be overly cautious with Harrison. They don't want to.
No, I get that, but look how many strikes he threw.
Yeah, 18. Yeah,
I mean, horrible. I mean, it was bad. Like I said yesterday, it wasn't. Yesterday was just the challenge because it's the weekend. It's not the ABS, and there was no challenges on his balls or anything. So it's just he just did not look good yesterday for sure.
Well, I would like to know if I think he was also overamped up. First start back in AAA.
Well, his velocity. I think
Farhan said though.
He got up to about 95. Most of the time, he was sitting around 93, 94 on his fastball.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what else. He was throwing some stuff between 83 and 88. Not sure if that was a slider or a changeup.
But, overall, I think I really think the Giants have to find some guys in the lineup that can hit. And, this thing that I think I've seen enough of Conforto and Jock.
Oh man, Conforto just had a horrible series.
I think he got a hit today off a lefty, but in the 4-5 or the 3-4 hole, he put a grounder through the 3-4 hole. But I don't think that. I'm not seeing any power at all from Conforto. Not even drives to the track.
Exactly. And that's my problem. Like if you look at his career arc, his last 2 full seasons, his slugging percentage has been below 400. So I think that's a problem. That might.
No, we were told this guy's got 30 home run seasons under the belt. And everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got Jock who looks like he's just going up there playing softball. Trying to just jump off his feet and hit it out of the park. He's just trying to kill it. It is a there was an article out today, and I'll tell you what I said if anybody's commented on this. Okay, here it is. Okay, Evan Weback put out an article that says only once during a doubleheader. Let's see. The article was Strada, no quick solution to the San Francisco Giants offensive woes in loss to A's. And what I did is I took a portion of the article and copied and pasted it and just said, here's what I said at the top. If the Giants miss the playoffs because of lack of hitting, Kapler and Farhan should be replaced. I tried to be more gentle instead of using the word fired.
Yeah.
I said, and here's the quote. This is from Gabe. We're just not going to be impatient with this group. And now we're talking a month and a half. Okay. We're not talking a 2-week slump. We're talking, we're talking over 40 games. Okay?
Right.
We're just not going to be impatient with this group. It's a group with a long track record of success. There's just zero need to worry too much. This is a group that's going to score runs. Very confident in this group. Looking at the lineup right now, I feel really good about it going forward.
That's such an obvious lie.
Yeah, I'm just not going to get too caught up in the last month and a half. Well, my response was what I read. Then I said, let me clarify on my comment, because some people will not understand really. And you only have so many characters you can, Right. So I said, let me clarify on my comment. If Giants fail to make the playoffs because they continue to struggle hitting and scoring runs, and based on Gabe's trust in the lineup, that's a total miscalculation of judgment on the skipper of the team. And you can't have someone leading a team with a lack of judgment. Farhan is included for not going out and improving the offense at the trade deadline. So that's my point. If they don't hit, if this slump continues all the way through September and they miss the playoffs, he needs to go, because he's sitting there telling you this is a great team, great hitting team. Yeah. Who's that on? I mean, he's not the one going up there and hitting, obviously.
Right.
It's the players. But if your belief system is in those guys, that's a lack of vision, judgment of a team.
That's the issue I have with this, with Kapler and Farhan, is their lack of communication. And that's why I brought that up with Ned, not specifically just to them, but it's to speak in general. Your communication skills means a lot when you're talking to the fan base who's supposed to support this team and have the backing of that fan base to understand, you know what, we like the direction we're going on. Sometimes you need some truth serum. Hey, our team isn't playing good, whatever it may be.
Exactly.
Quit blowing smoke up everybody's butt. Thank you.
What's the problem with Kapler going out and saying, you know what? It's obvious. We're having a tough time at the plate. We're struggling.
There you go. And no one's going to fault you for that.
Exactly. That's all you have to say. You just have to be honest instead of going out and saying, you know what? I see we're a very good hitting team. I have faith that we're going to come out of this. It's like, come on.
And then, of course, and let me guess, no one was that a statement to the whole press, or was that just a statement to someone else?
That was an article that he was quoted in saying, I don't know if it was a one-on-one interview or a group. I have no idea.
But of course, no one's going to come back with them and say, hey,
groups.
Here's your stats for the last month.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody.
That's the problem. Yeah. No one.
One of the questions. Yeah. One of the questions I meant to ask Ned and I forgot was, Farhan says during the press conference right after the trade deadline, he says, well, there was just nothing out there without giving up too much. He says, oh yeah, we could have got a fifth starter, but we would have had to give up half our farm. Yeah. Well, the natural question, if you're a reporter, is did you consider getting someone else's half of the farm for your fifth starter? I mean, you could have. You didn't have to give up Cobb. You could have given up
Junis or
Wood or Junis or Mania or even Stripling.
Yep.
I mean, you could have got a haul. You would have had to give up a haul. You're saying, well, why didn't you get a haul?
Exactly.
Hey, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is when you get, the runs may start coming, but now you're having to worry about your rotation and your bullpen because guys are going to start getting tired because now you're in August. This is the part, this is where, the part of the schedule that will test team's soul, literally, because it's August and September, man. It could fall apart all because of pitching.
Hey, I've seen it fall apart with many teams. There's no guarantee that a team, and I'll tell you, without veteran leadership, without veterans starting to, really pull up the slack, you're putting a lot of pressure on rookies to come through because they're watching the vets. And this is a team that has a lot of young guys. And if Conforto and Crawford and Peterson and Estrada's fine. I'm not going to even, but you got to get something out of Conforto, Peterson, Crawford, and Yaz, and even Slater when he plays. These guys have been through the 21 season. They've been in a really tight pennant race with the Dodgers, and you got to get everything out of them. And your pitching. You got to get great performances out of Webb and Cobb, and continue to get. You got to get more good performances out of Stripling and Wood, and Manaea. He was in playoff races with Oakland and early on. These guys, they have enough veterans to lead, but if these veterans don't pick up the slack and really, take off, you're seeing what's happening to the rookies at the plate. They've all started to fall off. Even Bailey. Bailey is now hitting. Let me give you Patrick Bailey's batting average after today's game.
256.
256. Okay.
Wow. He had a nice game today.
And
he had a decent game today.
And Wade
Wade had a good.
Right. That's right. Bailey was 2 for 3. I forgot. I didn't see his last one. Yeah. So but Crawford's down to 206. Matos is
230 something.
Matos is 245, but it hasn't been allowed 245 or a real soft. It's been
consistent though. Yeah.
It's been consistent.
Yeah.
Eric, could you pull up Robert Rothberg's comment?
Oh, do I? Come on, man.
We have talented players. They're just not producing. Eventually, how do you know they will eventually produce?
Just like Robert said this in the past, he can't tell the future, but he's telling the future.
Yeah.
I
don't get it. He's struggling. Oh, Peterson's struggling.
Did you see
all the vets are struggling, and
Slater, his last at bat.
Yeah.
Oh, I was watching it on game day when Dad was talking. He looked at strike 1 and 2 straight down Broadway. Called strikes.
I was watching it on.
Oh, so did you see that? I mean,
yeah.
What? And this is a veteran? Come on.
Exactly. Man. And that was my question to Ned. It's like he said, you're gonna have to let go of 3 veterans. Well, I mean, right now, none of your veterans are doing anything.
Nope. No, they're not.
Giants were actually a little better today. They were 5 of 16, which is in runners in scoring position, which is a lot better than.
Like I said, they scored runs, but I mean, it's easy to score runs against the A's. The issue is the pitching fell apart.
Well, you got. I'm not really worried about as I told you guys just yesterday. I says, I've seen it happen. Watch what happens. The hitting will pick up and the pitching will blow apart.
Yep.
It's so natural for a team that is mid-ish. This tells you that the fact that the Giants are still at the top of the wild card standings, how weak the baseball teams have been this year
in the National League specifically.
It's a lot of parity. You're talking like it's kind of like the NFL almost in the NFC, where you got the Eagles and the 49ers, and then you got a bunch of teams that are competing for other spots, the lower end spots. And it's like
someone brought up a point.
The Braves and the Dodgers are the elite teams.
Brought up Solano. Look how good he's playing. He's betting 275. Someone put it up there. It has an on-base percentage of 400. Why there it is, Ted. Why would you let that guy? Because he's been producing ever since he got. Is he still with the Reds?
I'm not sure.
But Reds and Twins ever since he left the Giants.
You got Matthias. When you
you got Matthias. Yeah. I saw him yesterday. He didn't do a whole lot.
I mean, they let him go. Their last season that was 2021. They let him go. His batting average was 280. I mean,
I know.
That's a guy that knows how to hit. He is a professional baseball hitter.
He's not going to hit
for 20 home runs. He's going to consistently hit barrels. He's going to get you singles and doubles, and he's not going to strike out as much. That is what
Exactly.
this team is missing. This
Yeah,
team
they
doesn't
want
have
all
it.
these home run guys. That's what it is.
Exactly. They want the home run guys that hit
Yep.
220 and hit 25 home runs. Well,
Yep.
guess what? They're batting 220 and they're hitting 10 home runs. So
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really a it's
Yeah,
a
it's
tough
tough.
situation.
It's
You
tough.
know what? As you're pulling up any more chats, I want to pull up here the most recent standings after today.
Yeah, Lou, we've talked about this. This schedule is going to be ugly after Anaheim. Ugly.
mhm. Ugly. Yep.
All right, so here's the standings. If we take a look at the American League starting off, Orioles continue
Orioles,
to
man.
win. Rays win again. Toronto's won 3 in a row. Yankees lost to Houston. Boston has lost 4 in a row. They're on the outside looking in, and then you got the Twins who are pulling away now.
Yeah, they are.
You look at
They
Cleveland.
walked off the Diamondbacks today.
Yeah, swept the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are in a total tailspin. Giants could have beaten the A's these last 2 games and really
Separated themselves,
but they're letting teams hang around. The Rangers are 2.5 up. They swept. Who'd they sweep?
Miami.
Yeah, which is, I mean, Giants are getting all this help. Phillies are right behind the Giants, 61 and 51. Actually, they're tied now. So the Giants and Phillies tied for the top wild card spot. And we take a look.
Cubs are coming.
Cubs are right there. Cubs are right there. They are
now.
now
They have a wild card spot.
They're tied with Cincinnati.
They caught them. Yep. And Cincinnati's continue to lose 6 in a row. It's the Cubs will win that division. Reds will fall off. Marlins will fall off. Diamondbacks are falling off, will continue to fall off. And here's what could happen, everybody. I've got the Phillies for sure in the playoffs. I do think the Giants can hang on because they're competing against some teams, probably going to compete with Milwaukee and San Diego down here, 2.5 out. Put the Padres, I don't care what they're doing right now against the Dodgers, getting beat bad. Padres have too many hitters. Giants have no hitters. Padres have good pitching. They will make the playoffs. Giants are going to hang in there and should make the playoffs if they do things right. But over the last day or two, I'm a little frustrated because my plan of them making the playoffs included Schmidt and Luciano on the team.
Yeah.
And now they're both off the team. Yep. So I don't know, because the thing about Schmidt and Luciano, Schmidt wasn't hitting great, but he's a catalyst type player. Okay. He plays with a lot of confidence, even though he hasn't been hitting. He's so good out in the defense. I mean, we just saw it today. I mean, 2 errors by Crawford. I don't think those errors are made, those throwing errors by Casey Schmidt.
Oh,
I
not
really
at
don't.
all. And the thing that I love with Casey Schmidt is his offensive struggles didn't contribute to his defensive struggles.
Correct.
I mean, it didn't play over, which tells me that he has a strong head and a strong mental. He has strong mental game. Like, his hitting is going to come around, and it hasn't leaked into his defense. His defense is elite. So, I mean, once he gets that hitting going, he's going to be a franchise player.
Exactly. And hey, how about Tyler? Make a good point. Kepler doesn't know how to use the bullpen. Luke Jackson pissed the bed, but Kepler just left him in there to struggle.
Oh yeah, he was wild. He was wild. He walked in the run.
Did you see his last outing? He was wild as well. He got lucky, but he was wild.
His release point was way off. He was throwing the ball up high out of the zone.
Yep.
He was throwing more like, instead of coming down, his release was up here.
Makes you wonder if his back's still bothering him.
Everything was going high, and he kept doing that. He kept, after he'd throw it, he'd go, like he was like, get it down. And he kept, I mean, that's the time when you see a guy like that doesn't have control of his pitches, get him
Get him
out.
out.
He yanked him, and he left
Get
him
him.
in for the
He left
fourth
him
hitter.
in and he walked the next guy with the bases
Exactly.
loaded.
Yep.
And he had a guy in the pin. Again, Kapler, he either undermanages or overmanages.
Yep. We were
Rarely
talking about this.
does Gabe Kapler manage a game that
Yes.
goes with the flow of the game. He did it earlier against Arizona. And what did they
Yep.
do? They won those games because he didn't overmanage. He didn't
Yes.
undermanage. He let the guys just stay in that were doing well. Today, guys are struggling. Get them out. They don't have it. Here's another situation. Their Giants are up 4-3. They got a man on first, and it's the third or fourth inning. I think it was the fourth inning. Lefties pitching. It was Sam Long. You got Slater on the bench, and you got A.J. Pollock on the bench, who both play left field, and Jock Peterson, who's in the game playing left field, who you really don't want out in the field right now. Yes, the game's early, but it's a 4-3, a one-run game, and he leaves Peterson in. Now, does he on the opposite hand, 5-3, they got the lead, and Luciano was coming up.
He would have been pinched hit for
and he was leading off the inning.
Yep.
Nobody was on, and he pinch hit Jock for Luciano.
Yep.
Now, tell me the difference. Two different scenarios. You're up 5-3. That's the time to leave everything alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're down, or now you're up 4-3. Close game. You can see that this game's going back and forth. Every run is valuable, and you got a chance to bring up a right-handed hitter who is facing a lefty, who also you got a man on with less than 2 out, and you get a chance to not only pinch hit, because Jock's not hitting even right-handed pitching, let alone lefties. Now you got a chance to pinch hit and get Jock out of the field and with a better defensive outfielder, and he leaves him in. And Jock, I don't know, I'll have to look it up, but I remember he didn't do anything.
Nope, I think he flew out to the left field or something like that.
I think he did, and that's when he threw his bat. Is that when he
Yeah,
threw his
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, again, we talk about Gabe undermanaging, overmanaging, because it was a game that was going back and forth, and you can see it. I mean, I'll tell you what, I bet the under to start the game. It was 8, okay? In the third inning, when it was 4-3, the over-under changed to 13.5, and I can tell the way the game was going. I bet the over, and I won. I mean, Kapler should be able to figure this out. This wasn't going to be you weren't holding Oakland back today.
Nope.
Cobb didn't have it. If I can figure out that they were going to the game was going to be more than 14 runs combined today when it was only at 7, why would you leave Peterson in against the lefty who he's proven he hasn't been able to hit?
Yeah.
Right? And it's not like you only have one guy on the bench that can play outfield, and you don't want to use your guys too early. You had both Pollock and Slater on the bench. And then he does pinch hit for Jock later on in the 7th for Slater. But in that situation, let me pull up the play-by-play, because in that situation, I believe it was a leadoff. Let me look here. 7th inning.
Yeah, it was.
And another thing that he didn't take in consideration, the A's are going to play up for this series. This is the last Bay Area Bridge series, whatever you want to call it, between the Giants and A's.
If the A's end up moving to Vegas next year, it'll depend. Yeah, it could be. What inning was that he pinch hit for Jock? Oh, it was the 6th. Slater hit for Peterson in the 6th. And they were Giants were here he is. This guy makes 6-4. Giants are up. 6th inning. Nobody on. Okay, but in the top of the 4th, Sam Long pitching. Here's how the inning went. Estrada grounded out, 1 out. Flores walked. Sam Long is brought in to pitch to Peterson. He lets him pitch. He doesn't pinch hit there. And Peterson, That's a chance for a rally. You already got a guy on. I thought Slater was your big bopper against left-handed pitching.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm not trying to second guess here. I'm really not. I'm just trying to figure out, like, where's your consistency? I mean, what you're thinking? I mean, I guess I get a little irritated with the fact that he pinch hit for Luciano in the 7th inning of Luciano's debut.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it was like 5-3, and you already had, your array of bullpen guys available. And
It's
so,
just not consistent. He doesn't pinch hit for Jock in a situation you pinch hit. He does pinch hit for Jock in a situation where you just got to let him play and let him hit. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
It's just odd, So, again, hey, today, I wanted to point out unbelievable bunt by Tyro Estrada.
Ooh, yeah.
With 2 out, third baseman playing deep, and he lays down a beautiful surprise bunt. Beautiful form. Unbelievable form on the bunt. If that is a textbook bunt for a hit, if I've ever seen one. That, did you see that one, Bora?
I did. I was thinking about texting you, but that was great.
That was an unbelievable bunt. I mean,
and you know what? That's all on Estrada. That didn't come from the dugout. That's Estrada like doing something.
Yes. I'm going to see if I can pull that play up here and
yes,
show
Carlo
the
P. I think
chat.
Estrada was Solano's replacement. I think Solano didn't Solano play a little bit of third base too? I think he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He played
all the
second,
infield except for first. Yeah.
Okay, they don't have it in the highlights that oh, here it is. Yes. Let me turn the volume down.
You're muted, Dan.
Oh, as I turn the volume down. You know what? Yeah. I can pull that up on.
You should be able to share it. Yeah.
Let me see if I can do that. That was an awesome bunt.
Yeah, that's a really nice bunt.
I mean, it was. And going back to Kapler, I mean, he took out Cobb with 5 1/3 with 77 pitches. He did the same thing to Stripling. What's the problem with just letting these guys pitch? Let them complete an inning. What's the problem with that? Why do you have to take him out at 70-something pitches? Let him pitch. They're starting pitchers for a reason. They're meant to pitch longer into games. They're built up for 90 to 100 pitches. Let him pitch that.
Yeah, that's and then shoot, I did see that. Why am I not seeing this? Boy, Nick Allen hits 2 home runs, a little guy for the A's. Yeah, both off Cobb. All right, do we have? Oh, Giants picked off 2 guys today again. Jeez. Yeah. It's like a couple more pickoffs. Where is that? Wow, they got all kinds of highlights in here. Huh. I didn't realize MLB, if you scroll down, you can get pitch by pitch for each inning highlights. Did you know that, Eric?
No, I didn't. Nice.
Gosh.
I think that's how some of these guys do their videos. They pull those. They must pull that off.
Wow. What inning was that? The 6th inning or 5th? The Estrada.
And let me see if it does it. I don't know if it won't show in here, will it?
I think
it was his only hit, so I don't know when he got his hit.
Might have been the 4th inning. Let's see. No, Estrada grounds out to second.
Yeah, Jock and Laporta could use the whole year off. They do
$19
look
million
tired.
for Jock. Can't get over that.
Oh, it was the fifth inning. Okay, so let me get to the fifth inning here. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. Let me put this on here. Let me first share. I got to make sure the volume is down right away. All right, can you guys see the screen there?
Yep, there you go. Got all of them.
Look at that. It's like I didn't. Okay, so I got to get this volume off right away here. Let me see.
Well, you don't have to share it yet if you want to unshare it and then get it ready.
Well, okay, let me try that. All right, here we go. I want to see this bunt. It was so good. It was such a surprise bunt too. Okay, we seeing this now?
Yep. You're good.
I'll make it bigger when I hit it
once you hit play, you can. Good.
Hey, watch this bunt. Look at that. Boom. Just
nice.
And it drove in a run. I mean, total. Nice. That was with bases loaded.
No, first and third.
First and third.
Okay, first and third. Yeah. And then, of course, that made it 6-3. And then,
man, you know who that? I almost thought that was Panda. If you watch him go back to the dugout, I think it was Jock. But man, that stomach looked like a panda stomach.
Who, Jock's?
Yeah, just replay it. Replay it.
Right
okay, there
there?
you go. Go right there. Go play.
Oh yeah, that's Jock.
Hold on, right there. See him coming up? Doesn't that look like Panda? Doesn't that give you a resemblance of Panda right there?
I just love how he controlled the bat.
Yeah, very good bat control.
See the way to bunt. Let me show you this again. Let me pull this back right here. Little education lesson here. Watch him as he bunts. The lesson of learning about is pull the bat back. See, he doesn't push at it. He just
lays it down.
He just kind of
you have to have a soft. You catch it.
Yeah, you have to have a soft bat. You catch it just like in the glove. You just boom. You don't lunge for it. So many major league guys come up and they don't know how to bunt, and they get up there and they go push. And every time you push it, you're gonna pop it up, or you're gonna, it's just like you just. I don't have my. All right, hold on. I gotta get my level.
I don't know if you noticed. Did you see that stat when he got on base? What it said about the Giants and the most in the MLB?
Yeah, yep.
The most bunt hits, but they won't lay down a bunt to advance a runner during. It makes no sense. You'll bunt for a hit, but you won't bunt to advance a runner.
All right, little lesson if you have any youngsters out there watching how to bunt. You don't want to take the ball and push your bat forward. You just kind of pull it back, and it just you're catching it, you just boom, and as it hits the bat,
it deadens the ball.
Yeah. And when I was taught how to bunt, I don't have a belt. Let me put my.
There's the belt. Here. I knew the belt was coming.
The belt was coming. All right. Let me see if I can get this lower. All right. I don't have a belt, but I can. Well. All right. So I had a belt around me, and it kept your left arm down in, because I was taught to bunt for base hits, not square, and give it away. So many guys, you surprise attack is the bat's here, and you pivot with your back leg. Can't see it right now, but my back leg, my knee bends, and I just put the bat out, and I just boom, and I just drop it down, and I'm on the run, as soon, almost like Estrada was.
Yeah, he was running right out of the box.
And major leaguers, if they would work on that, you could probably get 10 to 15 hits a year.
Yep.
Bunting. Seriously. It's especially the way they play in third base. I mean, they got guys back there 3 steps from the grass.
Roku says no kids are watching this. Most of us are probably playing adult softball.
You don't need to bunt. There's no bunting in. You can't even bunt in softball, can you? When I played, I don't remember. Bunts weren't allowed, were they? I can't remember, but I never bunted. But I tell you, the fact that these guys come up to the major leagues and do not know how to bunt, it just blows me away. I mean, you can hit a 99 to 102 mile an hour fastball and knock it out of the park, but you can't bunt it.
Hey, Sam, bunting is part of the game. Yes, the purpose is to get a hit, but if you're going to score a run and you're able to get a bunt hit out of it, why not? It's part of the game. Yes,
I want hitters too, but we don't have any.
It's still baseball. It's still baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
that bunt today from Estrada drove in a run.
Yeah, exactly.
2 out. It was.
I was thinking there was a situation where Conforto was up. It was first and second, nobody out. I was thinking this would be a perfect time for a bunt. He's struggling at the plate. Just have him lay one down. He ended up walking, which is probably the best case scenario. But how many times have we seen the Giants have runners at first and second, nobody out, 1 out, and Kapler doesn't call the bunt, and they ground into a double play? How many times have we seen that happen?
I never would bunt with 1 out. But
no out. Yeah, maybe not 1 out, but no outs. I mean, I feel like I've seen it at least 20 times.
Seen a lot of other teams do it though to the Giants that are playing for that 1 run or 2 runs, and they end up executing the bunt and they end up scoring. Kapler's brand of baseball defies me sometimes because it's early in the innings. I mean, his whole let me explain, because I want to point out something to you that is, what is all of a sudden the game went, okay. Let me point out some of the things that just don't add up. All right. For example, today, as I mentioned, 4th inning, man on. Jock's coming in to face Sam Long's coming in to face Jock. He doesn't pinch hit. He's not playing for the run, the extra run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Following me?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What does he do in the top of the first when they're on defense and they have a runner at third base? What does he do?
Bring the infield in.
Every time he brings first inning, he brings the infield in.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the consistency? You're trying to stop a run in the very first inning, 1 run, but in the 4th inning in a 1-run game,
you
don't even try and go for it. You're basically you're basically sending Jock up against Sam Long with the season that Jock Peterson is having is basically crying uncle.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're basically saying, because Peterson's not hitting right-handed pitching. He's certainly not going to hit left-handed pitching. So I don't get the stinking inconsistencies. I mean, I've seen him one game. Who was pitching? Somebody was really struggling. It was Webb. It was the night Webb got knocked out in the 2nd inning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Against Washington or whatever?
Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was 2nd and 3rd. I'd have to go back and look at it. But there was a runner in 1st and 3rd. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure it was 1st and 3rd.
And they're playing them in, and they got
him in.
And they got the hit. Yeah.
They got a hit instead of play, and it would have been a double play. Yeah, it was hit to the second baseman.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, why are you? It was only 1-0 at the time. It was 1-0. He's playing him in. Webb's struggling. You get the double play. All of a sudden, it's 2-0 because there was nobody out. And the one thing that was going to kill Webb and get him out of the game early was a big inning. And he was laboring with pitches because that was the night Washington was fouling the balls off. Just
Yeah.
fouling
that's
everything
fouling,
off.
yep.
And his pitch count was going up. And he pitched like 45 pitches in the second inning. And it was like, okay, you need a double play, Kapler. You need a double play. Sacrifice a run. It's the second inning. And he brings the infield in, and Webb, who happens to be one of the top pitchers in baseball, getting the ground ball, gets the perfect ground ball, and it squeezes in because the infield's in. And it would have been probably a double play, and then you would have had 2 out, nobody on, 2-0. Webb gets out of the inning. Maybe he turns the game around. They end up losing that game 10-1. But this is the kind of stuff that boggles my mind because there's not a lot of
clear semblance of what he's trying to strategize as far as the baseball game.
Well, why are you playing the infield in?
So early
I
in the
guess
game?
with this offense, you have to because they can't score a dang run.
Yeah.
So, but, I don't know. Anyway.
Strikeouts go through the roof again today. I see 13.
Yeah. To the worst. Do your thing, Eric.
What's up?
Do your thing to the what? The worst?
Oh, that's right. Let me repeat that. They had 13 strikeouts to the worst team in the major leagues, possibly in the history of baseball, other than the 1962 Mets. 13.
This is just let's pull that up here. Let's take a look and see the strikeouts. I want to look at the stats. I want to look at the Dodgers strikeouts to the Giants here. Let me pull this up here. Present to do. Okay.
Dodgers got a lot of strikeouts tonight.
All right. Can you
doing leaders?
Screen there?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, team. Let's get to.
I don't know if it'll pull up strikeouts.
There it is. Strikeouts.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. K's.
Wow, Minnesota.
Oh wait, that's pitching. We want batting. We want batting
and strikeout. There it is. 9. So you got to do that.
You
got to sort it by the strikeout.
Right, got it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Number 3.
1041. Where are the Dodgers?
Huh. Rangers
942.
17.
101 strikeouts more for the Giants. Wow. Over the same amount of games, I guess,
Who's the best team in
I think Arizona's up there. I think Arizona's one of the best.
Look at that. Cleveland and
yeah,
Washington. Look at Washington.
There you go.
That's why they fouled the ball off so much against Webb. They just were, wow.
Pesky.
But look at those teams. So the bottom 4, none of them are in the playoffs.
Nope.
Look at the Braves, though.
Playoffs.
Braves are such a good team.
I know.
I mean,
they're going to be.
If they don't win the World Series, that's a disappointment.
Look at San Diego, 918 with all those boppers not striking out.
Yep.
Let's take a look at batting average.
Oh, please no. Rangers, Braves.
All right, where do you think the Giants are? I haven't even looked. I'm going to guess 23.
I think last time I looked, I thought they were in the middle of the road. But I'd say 17.
All right. I'm guessing 23. What do you got, Bora?
26.
Dodgers.
Oh, Dodgers
49.
20.
240. What's the worst? 220. Oh, the A's.
The worst team.
Of course.
And they got 8 runs.
The major leagues.
Oh, my
That the Giants got swept by.
All right. Let's look at home runs. The team that was supposed to lead the National League in home runs, or maybe all of baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look at the Dodgers and Braves. Look at that. And they're the 2 best teams in the National League.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay,
Uh,
Texas Rangers up there.
Tampa and Texas up there.
Remember, the Giants were number one the first month and a half.
They're at
17.
125. They're 17. A's down at 107. 83 for the Guardians. Wow.
Wow.
All right. What's another stat that would be good?
How hard they're hitting the ball, slugging.
Slugging.
Braves, Rangers, Dodgers.
The Braves have an 839 OPS as a team. That's insane.
That's crazy. I know.
That is crazy.
Wow.
That is.
Let's look at that. Let's look at that next.
Rothberg keeps saying, "Bring on the Braves, man. Careful what you wish for." Buddy.
Where are the Giants?
Yeah, where are the Giants?
23.
23rd.
394. Let's see where those last. The Oakland A's. And let's take a look at OPS. Where are the Giants, you think? I bet the Giants are 22 in OPS.
I'd say 15. I think
they're way on the bottom. I think they're close to the bottom. I think they're almost at the bottom.
I guess 22. I don't know. Let's see.
Ted says if Ohtani was in the Giants today, they'd be 5th in home runs.
Where else we got? Okay, so look at that. 839. Padres 744 at 12th. Diamondbacks 742. Giant. Oh, what a guess! 22. And I did not cheat. I promise. 710. And where are the A's?
There it is.
Look at that. Almost like what? 200, almost 300 less than the, or 200, almost a full 200 points less than the Braves. Oh my goodness. Here's another crapper of the Giants. I bet you they're 28th in stolen bases. Where do you think they are?
Oh, last. Dead last.
Dead last?
Dead last.
Yeah.
All right.
For stolen bases.
Kepler said they were going to run more this year. Where are they?
Oh, 29. So close.
I was. Oh, so you went over. I said 28th. I win according to the Price is Right because I was under. All right. What else? What other stats? What other stats could we look at?
We're gonna have to
go. Two hits is a total.
Let's see how their base on balls is, because they're usually pretty good at this. I bet you they're about the middle of the pack.
No, I think they're a little bit less than the middle.
11.
Oh, I guess better.
Okay.
371. All right. And who's the worst? Royals. They're terrible. They're right.
Hey, Dan, I hate to say it, but if the Giants get swept by the Angels, I'm going back to the playoffs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we're going back there again.
Mm-hmm.
Hits. Where are the Giants in hits?
Ooh. Oh, since their average is pretty bad, probably.
I'm going to say
60,
hit. I'm going to say 20.
I'll say 16.
Yeah, I was going to say 20. Yeah. I'll say 21.
Just because they haven't been hitting the last few games.
True. I said 16. Nope. Oh, even worse.
21. Bora nails it.
Yep.
Bora.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, those 5 hits in 2 games really helped.
Robert, you can't tell the future.
All right, we've covered just about everything. Triples, I bet you they're even though they're
dead last. Triples dead last.
Even though they're in a triples park, yeah. I'm going to say they're 23.
No, last
30.
Last.
They're 30th.
Yes, thank you, Bora. Last.
Yeah. Who's hit a triple?
Oakland A's got 10.
I don't remember the last time they've hit a triple.
Crawford, the other day.
Crawford,
I think that's the only triple.
Uh-oh, I was wrong. 25th.
25th. Oh, but look at their tied with so many damn people.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's just the same as 23. I'm right. Okay, thanks.
No, what are you
the same as 29.
It's the
I said 23. Okay, it's right. Hey, thank you. It's my show. What the heck? I set the rules, right?
Oh,
no.
Man.
Anyway, those are some stats. Giants are now. If we go to pitching, we'll see.
Pitching's good.
You'll see why
they're
in the playoff hunt. Okay, if we look at ERA, they're 5th.
That's good.
If we look at saves, they're 1st. If we look at shutouts, they're 5th, tied for 5th. If we look at
strikeouts,
hits given this is where you want to be at the.
I think they give a lot of hits.
It's 12th.
Yeah, 12.
Wow.
Okay, they're 12th from the
Bottom.
12th from the bottom. So that's really like 18th, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you want to be 30. Right? You
Yeah.
want to be 30. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're really like 18th. Okay, earned runs. They're probably in the top 8. Yep. They're
Top
1, 2,
4.
top 5.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Home runs allowed. They're probably in the top 8 again. 3rd. Okay.
Walks,
Okay.
I think they might be first.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't give
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing strikeouts. They're probably 10th or 12th.
No, I think they might be like 20th.
14th. They're right in the
Yeah.
middle. So that would make them 16th, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. What is this? OBA. On base. What is that? What is the A on that?
On base average? I think it's on base average.
Yeah. Okay. So they're probably in the top 10. You want to be. Oh wow, they're down.
Yeah,
How's
they're not
that?
too good.
How's that happening? Errors? They're lousy defense, maybe.
Yeah,
in the
I bet you
beginning
that's
of
what
the
it
year.
is.
Because
Yep.
how could you be in the top? The least base on balls, the least hits, and yet you're getting on base.
Look at the quality starts. I want to see the quality starts one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I bet you they're in the top. Well,
I don't know about that whole quality start.
do they?
thing.
Well, they're not going to be very good because they have three spots. They don't go 6 innings.
Yeah, exactly. The average is just don't
They're
work
going to
out.
be. They're going to be near the bottom. I bet you.
Yep.
I bet you they're going to be about 20. Oh no, they're right in the middle. 39.
That tells you.
That tells you
3
how many.
starters.
Well, but look, I'll bet you if we look up Webb and Cobb, they own 25 of those
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure they
for
do.
Sure.
because Webb's got like 14 or 15.
I think Cobb's got up there. Well, doesn't D. Sclafani had like 10, right, or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah. So like 3 pitchers, they got most interesting. So that's why the Giants are in the race. And this is why I was frustrated that the Giants didn't do anything to improve an anemic offense. What do you do for someone who's got anemia?
Yep.
Give them some iron.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Give them something so they feel they get better, get more strength. What does Farhan do for an anemic offense? He doesn't do anything.
You get AJ Pollock.
Get AJ Pollock, yeah.
I mean, come on. If you got an anemic offense, go out and get a bat that's going to do something. I mean, somebody that's got really legitimate power, like an Adam Duvall, or
even better yet. How about instead of sitting Luciano down, you kept him up instead of.
I mean, yeah, Luciano power.
Because what did Isan Diaz do for you during that time period? Nothing.
1 RBI. That's
one RBI.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But I understand he's playing second base, and right now that's all he's doing. He's playing second base and DHing. So my guess is Luciano may even get called up before Schmidt. It's very possible. Although I would just bring them both back up and play.
Just go with the kids. Play the kids.
I mean,
man,
I don't know. Crawford needs more rest.
He does.
Just because of that knee's going to act out.
Crawford's going to get injured again. I'm telling you.
It's going to happen.
He's going to go on the IL for another.
I have a feeling that's going to happen too. Yeah, it's going to be like
that's 2 years in a row. You have a knee problem, and you're 36-year-old. It's not going to get healthy. You're just managing it. That's all you're doing.
All right, guys. Final thoughts here on a Sunday night. We'll let Bora go first, and then Eric will close it out with his final thoughts for today's game and the Giants going forward. What do you got to say, or anything else you want to add?
This is right now.
Doesn't even have to be baseball related.
This just isn't a good team. There's just not a good team right now. Their offense doesn't work. Their pitching works. Their offense works. Their pitching doesn't work. So that's what happens when you don't have a good team. You can't nothing works at the same time, and that's what's happening right now.
All right.
All right.
Eric?
Yes, play the kids. We're fighting for a playoff spot. Yep, play the kids. All right. They got to win one tomorrow. I'm telling you, tomorrow, if you're going to win one, it's got to start tomorrow. I don't see a sweep happening, so I don't see this A's and Angels series matching up like we wanted to, where we wanted them to go at least 3-2. It's probably going to be, it's like you said, it very possibly could be 1-4. But yeah, they got to come out and win. Tomorrow's Webb, right? You said Webb's pitching tomorrow?
Yeah, he's got
to come out and deal. Sandoval's one of their good pitchers. And then I think we face Ohtani on Wednesday. That's not going to be easy. So I don't know. It's not looking good. Yeah, they got a lot of runs today, but I've been saying this all along. August and September are going to be the months you're going to have to be watching, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the pitching matchups is Webb and Sandoval Monday. TBD, he's the
biggest,
TBD. TBD's our guy. Mm-hmm. He's one of the top. He's so good. We've got 3 of them in our rotation. TBD against Giolito. And then
Giolito. Okay. And
then on Wednesday, we've got TBD against Ohtani. I mean, what does that say about your team when you're everything's TBD?
TBD. Honestly, every time we look up at the series, we always it's one starter.
Yeah, we never know.
And the rest of them are TBDs.
Yep.
Yeah, and you get it the night before. So Stripling pitched. Yesterday, Saturday,
he's
so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No, he's not pitching. So he'll probably pitch Friday night against Texas, which
that's going to be bad.
Bring out the home plate with the little thing the tube that goes straight up like this, right?
The T-ball,
Put the tube on top of the plate.
Oh yeah.
That could be some T-ball time.
We're going to see some major league hitting.
Some home runs.
I thought I saw Josh Jung. I think he fractured his thumb or something.
Yeah, he's been out.
Young did? He really?
Yeah. He's been out for a while.
Damn.
Yeah.
But they're still killing the ball.
Angels got their rotation set against the Giants. I did mention on Tuesday TBD against Giolito. So they're throwing Sandoval, Giolito, and Ohtani. The thing I don't like about that for the Giants is they don't hit guys like Giolito. They don't hit guys like Ohtani. They don't hit guys like Sandoval.
They're
not that great. That's why I said all 3 of them. I mean, Giolito shut them down earlier this year at the beginning of the season, didn't he?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wasn't that
in Chicago?
The final game against Chicago or something, or second game? Well, I can't remember which. Or did they beat Giolito?
I can't remember.
Maybe it was Cease. They didn't.
Cease. I can't remember.
I know they beat up Kopech. I know that.
I got it right here. What was it was April.
Yeah, the very beginning, right after
April 5th against the White Sox. It was Cease beat them 7-3, but on Monday the 3rd, maybe they didn't even face Giolito. Let me see. Box score. Nope. Kopech they beat, and then they
beat Lynn as well.
So they didn't even face Giolito.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that's going to turn out.
Yeah. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks guys for joining. We'll be back tomorrow night facing the LA Angels, which Logan Webb will take the mound to try and stop the bleeding. And Webb's going to need to give him 7 strong innings.
What time's first pitch again?
I'm just looking that up right now. What is tomorrow's date? August 6th, 7th. First pitch is at 6:38. So
that's weird.
Earlier game than even the Giants' home games. So we'll be with you tomorrow night about 9:15, 9:30. probably closer to, well, we'll see. 9:15, 9:30 tomorrow night. Thanks again for everybody in the chat. Thanks to Ned Colletti for joining us today. That was a
That's
great
awesome.
treat.
Yes.
Thanks to Bora and to Eric. Dan Cochimilio saying, Arrivederci! Ciao!